on. Let's see
We're
that
gonna
countdown.
have a good time here.
Let's see that countdown. Oh, sure taking a long time here to get that countdown.
Oh, there it is.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Telling It Like It Is. My name is Jade Alberts, the founder of Peer Guidance. We're a purpose before profit group, fractional leadership. We love helping. So if you're looking for anything, give us a shout. I also want to touch base on what's scrolling on the bottom. We're very, very, very fond of helping entrepreneurs, as I've just mentioned, but this is mental wellness. We partnered with Collectively Tangled. We truly believe that this is a journey you don't have to take alone, and asking for help is not a sign of weakness. I will have the link posted up there right away. We got one more left. It's Thursday, March 21st. So sign up. Also want to give out a shout out to Startup TNT. Sign up for the finale. It's March 14th here in Calgary. It's going to be the clean tech finale, the life sciences in Edmonton, and then Saskatchewan has the ag tech. But absolutely get in there, out network, see what's going on in our ecosystem, and we'll take it from there. But as of right now, I met Rahim a little while ago at Platform Calgary. We kind of hit it off. I love his story, and I'm so excited to share it with you today. Rahim, how are you?
I'm doing great, Jade. Thanks for having me.
Oh no, it's just our conversation, it's kicked off an idea that I have is saying I got to talk about companies that have bootstrapped and maybe had some experience with fundraising. Experiences wasn't good. Maybe for whatever reasons it was, they didn't get it. Or in your case, just said, piss on you. I don't want your money type ideas. But I've been lucky enough to, be with companies, and I've never had to raise a dime in the exits that I've been involved with. And I think it's something I kind of wear that as a badge of honor. I mean, I've never grown anything over a $10 million company either. So, but I think it's great. I love this. You inspired me to kind of have a bootstrapping session. So now it's going to be your story. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the PropZap founding story and a little bit about yourself?
Awesome. So my name is Rahim Damji. I grew up in a real estate household. My dad is a real estate agent. And since I was about 14 years old, I started helping him out with just his real estate career. So sometimes it was paperwork, sometimes it was admin, sometimes it was tagging along for showings, and so on and so forth. And I kind of got into the industry at that time. But growing up, I said to myself, you know what? I absolutely don't want to be in real estate. I don't want to be a realtor. And I try to do everything possible to avoid ending up in real estate. Fast forward, guess where I ended up back into real estate. So here I am. Um, and kind of what happened at some point was I started in real estate marketing. Started building real estate technologies. And at some point along the line, I talked to dad, and dad said, why don't you get into sales? And I didn't really have a good reason not to. So I said, okay, you know what? I'll get back into real estate sales, but I won't do it the conventional way. I'm going to take what you're doing in sales, and I'm going to figure out what you're doing and build it up and scale it up. So in 2019, I joined dad in his real estate business, and I said, look, I'm going to start doing things my way, and let's see what we can do from there. So we started in October 2019 when I got licensed. Started up as it was a numbered corp at the time, and then right after I got licensed, come around February, we got COVID. So you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything. Everything's locked down, and you're in real estate, and you're here selling houses. So I started testing a business model. I said to myself, look, we have a great book of business. Can I figure out a solution to help sell houses while we're not able to meet customers or not meet customers all the time?
Yeah.
So we started this referral model where we said, hey, you know what? We'll start referring real estate agents, our customers. We'll talk to them, communicate them. They can meet the clients and start with that and go from there. And that somehow worked. The real estate agents loved having the extra business. The customers loved the extra care and attention that would go into it because they would be touring there, but they would be able to give us an honest feedback and chat with us about the property, etc. And we started growing that. So in October, it was me and dad. A few months later, there was a couple of us, and we started working out of the basement at home. And that's kind of where we started from there. And then we started realizing that we can start adding things to make the experience better. We started adding support for realtors on paperwork. We started adding support on admin services. We started adding training and coaching and mentorship. And fast forward, here we are now in 4 years later with over 400 million in transaction volume, a couple million bucks a year in revenues. We got a team now of 30 real estate agents, another 30 full-time staff. And we're just taking that and scaling it up across Alberta and then across the country. Uh,
Man, I mean, and it's kind of coincidence because last week I had Lewis and Nick on, the founders of Runner, and two different industries, but I was just like, they started their business a little bit before COVID, and then all of a
yeah,
sudden, wham! Right? You kind of get punched in the face, as everybody got punched in the face there when COVID hit. So, I mean, but I think when obviously obviously whether you agree with the lockdowns or things like that, I don't care, but it took something that maybe you weren't that inspired to doing into it, to being sitting there to go, oh my god, like this is an idea, we have to deal with it, I don't know how long we're going to have to deal with it, and you took something and made it and created an entire business out of it.
yeah, it was around the same time where we started betting on ourselves. So 2019, before that, Dad was at a premium, like a prominent real estate brokerage, paying heavy monthly fees. And I said, look, I'm going to get in the business. You're paying 1,500 a month. I'm going to pay 1,500 a month for 3,000 bucks a month. Let's just invest that into marketing ourselves. So with my experience in marketing, I started doing that and then started building it up day by day from there. So I think the timing was perfect at the moment. It didn't seem perfect, but then in hindsight, it's like, wow, this was the greatest thing that ever happened.
And the funny thing is I always, I'm a big proponent of, I guess not a proponent, but I've seen a lot of really success stories come out of people that are already working in the industry, finding I don't want to say a mousetrap, but just finding something to make it better, and finding an opportunity to saying, hey, here's something that's maybe a little bit different. Why am I paying, the higher people up there? Why don't I create something and try and see if this works for myself?
Yeah, that's kind of actually what happened to us again with our recent brokerage acquisition. We were in this brokerage model. It's a great brokerage model, but it didn't kind of fit what we were looking to do. And it didn't kind of line up with our values. And we said, hey, you know what? Why don't we open our own and add in our innovation and our touch and do it our way? And
Yeah.
let's see how that goes. And so far it's going good.
Well, that's good. I mean, another acquisition, another
Yeah.
another moving it, another something to bring everything in house, control what you want, and and obviously it was a learning experience, because I want to touch base. I mean, I said we met at Platform, and you were going. Was it the Catalyzer Velocity program or
It was
500?
500
500,
global.
500 global. My bad. So when you're going through that, we met, and I was like, oh my god, okay, well this is great. Like somebody who says, I don't really think I need VC money. I don't want VC money. I don't want angels, VC, whatever. I don't want outside investment because number one, I think I don't need it potentially. I don't want somebody telling me what to do. And there was a lot of things. So I want to kind of get your experience on this, because the next 4 episodes that I have are going to be talking about this. And I said our conversation inspired me to say, let's do this. And I love the fact that people go out there, bootstrap their company, and keep their own. So why don't you kind of share your experience? Maybe start with 500 Global, because I want to give them a good pump and all the great things that they do. And I talked to Simon here last week, and then kind of go into that.
Yeah, so to start off, 500 was a fantastic program. In fact, I wish I could have went through something like that a couple of years ago. It would have definitely propelled my business even more forward. Um, so it's a great environment, great group, great mentors, great coaching. I loved every moment of it. It was difficult as a full time CEO to come into the program and take time out of running the business, but it turned into a test of how strong of a business do you actually have. If the leader can be out of the business for great periods of time and the business can still run, you got a strong business.
Yeah.
So I took it on as that, and I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to go learn how to make my business better. If the business crumbles because I'm not there, well, I had a shitty business to start. And if it doesn't, then you know what? Maybe I'm doing something right. So I got through 500, learned a lot of things, had some amazing mentors, Tash, Shaheel, Simon, Chris. There's so many great people at 500, and I'm definitely forgetting to names a bunch of them. But it was really, really a great program. If you're a company, you're looking to grow, you're looking to scale, I'm definitely going to shamelessly plug 500 here. You should definitely apply for the next cohort. Um, Good luck getting in. It's a tough program, but if you know what, it is really, really fantastic. And it's really great that Alberta Innovates is doing all these things, to help people like us just grow our business and bring back to the Alberta economy. So I got into oh, sorry, Jade, you're going to say something there.
Oh no, I couldn't agree more. I'm a big fan of 500 Global and what Alberta Innovates has done to bring these in, and I actually know Shaheel, and I'm a huge fan, and especially of what he does giving back, like and mentoring people, not only having their fun with him and Cristina. It's awesome.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
So like going through the whole program, I was at this awkward stage where I have this company that's kind of grown into like a bush that
Yeah.
hasn't been trimmed yet. So you're growing in all these directions. You have a lot of growth. You're doing a lot of things well, but there still needs a little bit of polish. And I was always toying with the idea that, hey, should I fundraise? Should I stay private? Should I fundraise? Should I not? And I was always back and forth along it. I never really knew why I wanted to fundraise because I knew I could do it without it. But for some reason, going through accelerators and going to all these networking events and everything, and everybody's fundraising and doing this and doing that. And you know what? Sometimes you say to yourself that, hey, I should be fundraising. And I think it comes down to a little bit of an imposter syndrome. You don't feel like you built a real company until you've gone and fundraised. I think that's what it was for me. So I think that the fundraising would have been a badge for me saying, hey, you know what? Now we've actually made it. But I think I was fundraising for the wrong reasons. I didn't need the money. I was able to manage for all these years with it. We're growing our revenues over 100% every single year. Our transaction volume is growing. Our staff count is growing. So we don't have any debt on the company. So with all of those things, I'm like, do we really need it? And that's kind of where I was at.
Well, again, I mean, you had support, you have that business acumen, you have that background, and I mean, and kind of once you get out there, I think people get caught in that trap. I'm like, why am I raising? You just said it. Why am I raising funds when I know I can do this? I know I can bootstrap it. I know I can sell. I know I can, make money and turn that into my own personal investment into this. So I guess that, I guess I kind of want to just dive into a little bit more about that. Why did you think you need it? Like again, I have this conversation all the time talking about entrepreneurs. Build something for yourself. You don't have to be a billionaire. If you make a $1 to $3 million company, it's life-changing money for you and your family, and if you ever want to scale it later or sell it later, it'll be a good exit for you. So why did you, like, what part of that process when you were raising money did you say, you know what, I like this is stupid?
It got into the point where so every single month had been great except the month I was raising money. So that was the only month my revenues dipped. So and I said to myself, why am I trying to find outside money when I'm jeopardizing money from customers? I was literally telling customers and team members that, hey, I can't meet with you on fundraising. My staff and my agents would come to me and be like, hey, can you help me with this, or can you guide me with this, or I need your help on a deal or a transaction, or I need some coaching. And I'm sitting here like, oh guys, sorry, I'm too tied up. I'm doing investor decks and pitch decks and presentations and data rooms. And I said to myself, why am I doing this? I have money coming to me. It's begging me. It's like, hey, please take me. And I'm like distracted. I'm like, no, I don't want this money. I want that money. And at some point it just clicked, and I said, you know what, I'm down the wrong path.
Like, I think that is such a great point, right? Every month I was doing good except the month that I raised money. For every second that you're spending raising money, whether you think you need it or not, you're not spending on building your business. And that even goes to, I mean, if you go through the Global 500, and if you're going to go to Plug and Play, The Alchemist, or back to Platform or something along those lines, it's time that you're not spending on your business. So I think that's such an important point that you just said about, I'm not spending time on my business. It was my worst month ever because I wasn't focusing.
Yeah, it was really bad. Like it was, and I said, but you know what? So this was last December here, December 23, and then I said to myself, you know what? If I don't close anything by January 1, I'm not fundraising. I'm going to take it from a sign from above that you shouldn't be doing this. January 1, all the money I was looking to fundraise, I made in sales in the month. So I talked to the sales team and I said, look, guys, we got to get we got to work harder. We got to polish up ourselves a bit here. And every single dollar we were looking to raise, we did in sales.
Man, I think I am absolutely. I'm writing the time down, and I am cutting this piece out, and I am going to be promoting the snot out of it because I think that could be the greatest statement I have ever heard on over 300 episodes of Telling It Like It Is. Like that is something that people have to understand that you got to bang on doors, you got to sell, you got to do it. I mean, even within Pure Guidance, when we work and help these people, do things, it's not about developing your ICP. That's great. You got to understand who you're going to sell to, but you got to get out there and bang on doors. You got to
Yeah,
go, you got to sell.
and you're not going to be able to develop that ICP without banging on the doors. You got to
Well,
you got to go through the masses.
and that ICP might not be the right ICP. You might be going through
Yeah.
5 ICPs by the time you figure out who you need to sell to. So, but you're not going to figure that out until you're out there.
And the one thing I want to touch on here too is on selling. Selling isn't forcing somebody to buy something. Selling is giving people the adequate information that they need to make a decision and showing them the best paths to achieve what they're looking to achieve. And sometimes it's a fit, sometimes it's a not fit. A good salesperson determines early on whether it's a fit or not for the customer. And then if it's not a fit, they guide them in a direction that is the right fit for them.
No.
So
Oh, like I mean, it's so good. I mean, it's great. I love it. And thank you for sharing this. I mean, sometimes it's hard for people to come out there and say things because they don't want to, ruffle feathers. They don't want to tell it like it is. Sometimes everything gets glorified that, we're going to get out there, we're going to get it. People get mad that we're not. They don't understand why they're not getting an investment. So thank you for sharing that because I think, coming out there, putting it out there, it's very important to hear both sides of the story. We pump out there saying we've raised X amount of dollars in Alberta, but now that's probably 2% of the companies that maybe even less, maybe 0.5% of the companies that get VC funding. So let's really focus on the other 99% and how are they going to become a success?
mhm.
No, it
Yeah.
is. So let's talk a little bit here more about your business, about PropZap and how you've been able to kind of scale it, grow it. We'll get into the future plans as it is, but let's talk about a little bit of the tech you're developing and that.
So the whole company has kind of been built around solving problems. So the first problem I started solving was the problem I saw that my dad had in his career. He was a great salesperson, but he didn't wasn't the best on the business side.
Yeah.
So what happens is you have these fantastic salespeople that get into the real estate industry, but they don't understand the business element of marketing, sales, lead generation. They're fantastic with customer service. They're fantastic with talking to people. They're fantastic with guiding and coaching people, but they're just, when it comes down to payrolls and taxes and this and that, it's not what people expect. Because what happens in traditional sales is you go work at a company, the company does everything, and then you're responsible for selling, whether you're selling furniture or you're selling cars or you're selling SaaS. But in real estate, you come in and you're this independent business owner, and you got to do everything to run your business. So when we built out PropZap, I said to myself, look, why don't we give these people a solution that they don't have to run a business? They don't have to get stuck in the nitty gritty stuff. Make that my headache. I'll deal with all the nitty gritty nonsense so that they can come in, do what they love, focus on what they enjoy doing, service their customers, take great care of them, and then send all the nonsense to us to deal with. And that's kind of the fundamental principle of how we started building PropZap for the agents. On the customer side, we saw that customers were great. Like there's a stigma for real estate agents the same way there is for car salesmen. There's a lot of real estate agents, and unfortunately, there's some that are really good at what they do, and there's some that aren't so good at what they do. And I've been noticing a trend over the years of dealing with customers that they were just a lot of agents were not customers were not happy with the agents that they were dealing with. And I said to myself, what are those concerns? Why are they unhappy? Sometimes it's lack of communication. Sometimes it was lack of care, attention to detail. It was might have been, they're too busy running around and they're not able to focus on the relationships. And I said, what if we make this a two-pronged solution? For the agents, we can take away all the nonsense so that they can spend their times with the customers. And the customers love that more. The agents love that more, and everybody's happy. And that's kind of how we built up the company. So we now, well, basically, we help people buy and sell homes by servicing them through vetted and trained real estate professionals, and we take away all the logistics on the transaction. And it's been working for us. So, and it's our 80% of our business is referral business.
So, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, that you say that. I mean, I know the hardest day in my life is going to be when I sell my home.
Yeah.
Just like I'm gonna, oh God, I'm gonna piss 5, 6 friends off, right? I'm gonna pick one. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Oh, but hindsight. But I think that, I always hear horror stories, and I mean, some are good, some are bad. It's like any industry, right? In any profession. But I mean, I wanted to focus like on the training side of it because I know some guys that have now they're long time they're selling lots and lots of houses, but when they got into it, they felt that, man, they were just thrown to the wolves. They didn't get that training. So I love the fact, and we understand that to understand how to sell, you need that training, you need the support, you need to learn. I mean, I know, like, I love sales. When I dropped out of university, I became a salesman after I got promoted from a shipper receiver. Like, I had to, there was no training. I just had to learn. Like, it was
Yeah.
a curve, right? It was, thank God it was in an industry that it wasn't that difficult and everybody liked to watch movies, but there was no training for me. And then when I got into a new company, then I got, like, all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I really, really got to learn. So the importance of, your training has got to really make a difference. And it's probably going to help you when you do your expansion.
Yeah. So a big thing for us has definitely been training. So a real estate transaction has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of little steps. Everything from reviewing titles to due diligence on a property to how you write your purchase contracts, what terms you put in the contracts, what properties you pick for a customer. There's so many little nitty-gritty details that go into selling a home. And that's why 87% of real estate agents drop out of the industry within the first 5 years, because the learning curve is really, really, really steep. And there's not much that the industry can do to teach these agents, just because a lot of it has to come from experience. But if you can take people and put them into an environment where they have, like, so the average real estate agent in Canada sells about 3.2 homes per year.
Okay.
So imagine going to a heart surgeon that only did 3 heart surgeries. That's kind of what it's like dealing with most real estate agents. So they're very new to it. They're still figuring it out, and they've been tossed into this thing. And then the training that they've taught them is like, hey, you have everything you need to go and do your job, which it usually isn't the case. So they're a lot of the time they're out there trying to figure out how to make it work. But when people come into our ecosystem, they usually see a 200-300% growth within their first year with the company. And that comes down to us understanding what the business breakpoints are. So at every level of being a real estate agent, there's different things that are limiting you from hitting the next level. So when you're new to the industry, it's those skills, the confidence, the understanding that's limiting you from being a great salesperson. Once you start selling a little bit more, then it turns into not having enough people in your pipeline. Once you get a little bit further along the road, it's you have people in your pipeline, but you don't have systems in place to service them. Then it gets to the point where you have systems and you have people, but now you don't have time. So what we've kind of done is reverse engineered all of those, and we have solutions at every single stage to kind of help people build and grow with the company. And we start them off when they're brand new to the industry, and then kind of build and develop them over time. So some examples are, we have one fellow that joined us in October 22. By October 23, he sold 30 homes in his first year, 10 times the industry average. No sales experience, no background in sales, didn't know a thing about real estate. And that was his first year. And that's just one example. I got quite a few of those.
Wow, that's impressive. That's a good training program.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, it goes to show that, like, that when you spend time, on a person, on a sales, give them the right support, give them, like, don't just like, don't just throw them to the wolves and say that you can do this, because it's sales isn't easy. It's hard, right? You get 1,000 no's for every yes. You got to be able to just let that bounce off your chest and keep on moving forward. And,
Yeah.
and some people have a hard time with that. And it's not a no is not like a no forever. It's just like, I'm not ready. And your statement before of saying, we're building this. We're making sure that they totally understand how to properly get out there and work with you is such an important part of a success of any business.
Yeah, the training I think is the most important part of a business to help scale a business. Everybody needs to be aligned on the same page, and it's the same thing that you got to be updating all the time. So, like when I first built my training program, I built 13 units, and it took me thousands of hours to build up. And now I'm actually in the process of revamping it now that we acquired a brokerage, just to make the onboarding easier and kind of break it up into different stages based on where people's careers are at. But without good training, I think it's a combination. You need good training and you need good systems.
Yes.
If you have those two things, and then you add good people to the mix, you're set. So,
Yeah, that's like the perfect storm. Good people,
yeah,
good systems, good training. Right? I mean,
yeah,
it is. I mean, if you can take stress off salespeople and not have them focus on behind the scenes things and get out there and meet people and network and bang on doors, and I mean, they're going to be successful. Not all the time, but the majority. Your success rate will be much higher, as
yeah.
you are showing.
And sales isn't for everybody. There's a
No.
lot of times where people get into sales and they don't realize what it entails of them. And then afterwards, they realize, hey, this is not the right industry for me. So, it's important to figure that out fast instead of just having a slow and painful death. You know,
Oh,
I think it's better to figure it out right away and say, hey, this isn't me.
no, isn't that the truth, right? Like it's so true, right? And again, Keith, thanks for that comment. Like, I'd love to see this on the commercial sales side as well, right? I mean, yes, I know this is, um, people don't understand the importance of spending time. Firing and hiring people can cost your business so much money, and it just the turnover, and it's bad, and it creates a bad culture and everything that comes with that. So understanding that, and you can comment on Keith's response there kind of after Rahim on LinkedIn, but totally agree. Like, I mean, you have to do this. It doesn't matter if it's commercial, if it's real estate, whatever you're selling, you need a good process, you need good people, and you got to spend time on them.
And I think now that we've developed a lot more, we really understand who our ICP is of real estate agents that work well in the system. So what we used to do is we used to bring a lot of people in and try to train them up. We found that if we can find someone that's doing, somewhere between 6 deals to 12 deals a year, and they have 1 year of experience, I can take that person to doing 30 deals, 40 deals the next year. But that learning curve from 0 to 6 is a lot steeper. And what we started doing is referring that out to other brokerages and other teams and other groups until they're kind of ready for, because we're running in like the major leagues here, and
Yeah.
it's very fast paced, and sometimes you got to work your way up to the fast pace.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. No, I'm, spending the time, create what you created. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I want to kind of dive into what's next for you in PropZap. I know we had a little conversation before. I don't know if you want to share that or not, but
Yeah,
what's your goals here? Maybe some short-term and some long-term goals
I
as the
was
sun
telling
shining in my face.
I was telling Jade, I'm building what's called a fuck you fortress. it's it's my fortress of solitude, where right now I've built enough where I said to myself, at this point, I want to just build a moat around what I have and stabilize everything and just put it into a place where, you know, I don't have to follow anybody's rules. If I say the sky is green, the sky is green. You know, that's what I'm looking for. I want to live in my world of delusion and and just do that. So that's what I'm currently in the process of. We just acquired a brokerage, just restabilizing everything, uh, integrating all that into the business. Uh, I think we'll probably be done with that in the next 10-15 days here. Then back to sales for the spring market. March is coming up quick here, and things are really going to heat up in Calgary. Prices are going to start climbing really quickly. There's going to be no inventory. There's a lot of inter-provincial money coming into Alberta. There's a lot of people looking to buy their first homes. So we want to make sure that we're set up to help and service those people. So for the immediate future here, for the next couple quarters, the focus is Alberta, building up what we do in Alberta and just continuing to just grow our foundation here. We're doing pretty good in Calgary. We started seeding out Edmonton, and we're doing a lot of small towns in between. And then the goal is by probably June, July to be as prominent of a player in Edmonton as we are in Calgary. So it's pretty ambitious, but I'm sure we'll get there.
Hey, you got to have big goals. Got to dream big, right?
Yeah.
I
And
love it.
worst case, if it takes a little bit longer, fine. We're in August. We're in December. At least we'll still do it. It might just be a little bit slower, but
I love it. I love it. And I love big goals. I love what you've done. I love and thank you for sharing this. And I know I'm always sad when our conversations come to an end, but I want to I've been asking this question for 300 plus because, all the great entrepreneurs that I have the privilege of interviewing, like yourself, it always inspires me with and you've given some really good advice here, especially on the sales side. But if you had one piece of advice for an entrepreneur that's thinking about raising capital, what would that be?
I think it would be believe in yourself. I think when I was fundraising, it was because I had even a 1% doubt or a 2% doubt that, hey, maybe I'm on the wrong track. And as soon as I got rid of the doubt from myself, I'm on the right track. My business is growing faster than ever before. I'm acquiring businesses. We're scaling. We're adding team members. We have like 10 job postings open right now. And all the times that I didn't do so well were times that I didn't believe in myself. And I said, hey, you know what? Maybe somebody else knows more than me or you know what? And those are the times I've always been wrong. Stick to your gut. Stick to what you believe in. If you really believe in it, just go full-fledged, full speed ahead and just put your head down and work away at it.
Oh, I love that. I mean, at the end of every conversation I have with entrepreneurs, no matter what stage they are, my final statement to them is you can go out and ask for all the advice what you want, but you do what you believe is right for you. That is what you have to do. I followed my gut feeling. Yeah, it's been wrong. It's gonna be wrong again. But again, believe in what you believe in. Build something that you believe in. Build something for yourself. And I love that advice. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
No. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I think that's the biggest mistake I made is not believing in myself enough.
Yeah.
So
no.
I wanted to share that.
Thanks for saying that and being vulnerable, right? I mean, it's you tried something, you did it. It was the worst month you've ever had. You changed it, and then the rest is history.
Yeah. And now only time will tell.
No, well, I guess so, right? Well, I mean, and I'm sure we're going to be cross paths, and I'm sure you're going to keep me up to date what's going on, and I love that. And again, Rahim, thank you so much for coming on, for sharing your story, sharing everything that you've learned over the fundraising process. I love it. Again, for anybody that's out there struggling, looking for help, our Thriving Minds course is Thursday, March 21st. It's going to be virtual. Sign up. The the invite is in the comment section. The PropZap website is in the comment section. If you want to find out more about that, click on them. But again, Rahim, thank you so much for sharing your time with us, and I really appreciate that.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, Jade.
All right. Well, I hope everybody enjoys the rest of your Wednesday. We're going to have a 25-degree shift change today. So all you people like myself that are a few Advil in because of the migraines, make the best of this Wednesday.